Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got a review for you today. This is going to be part 2 into the Contest of Chaos. We got another 3 books to go over. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It's all free. It doesn't cost you anything to like, the comment, hitting that bell to keep in touch, when I do drop videos, because I don't have a schedule. So before we get started, there will be timestamps below if you want to skip to a certain issue. All the book's information will also be in the description down below if you're curious about the writer or letterer or colorist. So we're going to go in order on the weeks they drop. First up, we got Moonknight Annual, issue number 1. It's going to be Taigoki versus Moon Knight. One of the ones I was very excited about, and I did like the results. As always, since I'm doing 3 of these, it's going to be kind of quick. Basically, it's the same format, right? Moon Knight is being drawn to a place in the middle of New Jersey Pine Barrens. Taigoki is also being drawn there, even though his team, Tiger Division, is telling him not to. But the way Taigoki sees it is, somebody is in need of help and he has to go, kind of thing. And he's being drawn here, of course, by Agatha Heartless, or whatever her name is. She's the one that's holding this, Agatha Harkness. Okay, so she's the one holding the contest, and basically when they get there, she tells them that, they're going to have to compete. It's, for these gems, we've seen them. This is the first time we actually kind of get, we find out what they are, but they're just manifestations of chaos. And the more these people get chaotic, the more they grow, and she can, absorb because she's trying to make a new Darkhold. So she needs the fight to happen, right? If you don't know who Taigoki is, he is the Korean version of Superman, basically. He almost has all the same power sets. He can fly, he's super invulnerable, super strong, he's got the heat vision, but his is blue. Moon Knight, not so much, especially in this version of Moon Knight. He's pretty much just vigilante Moon Knight. I mean, pretty much all he's got is the Moonerings, but just to keep it interesting, because Taigoki does kind of whoop Moon Knight's ass, I mean, pretty easily. But to keep it interesting, Agatha, she kind of mixes it up, and she uses the Chaos Crystals to flip them through different variants of themselves. So right here we get a Captain Americanized version of Moon Knight, and then we get a Taigoki that was from his origin, and it's if he never found that gem that gave him the powers, basically he would have became this Kingpin, which this fight was dope. I thought Taigoki was going to go down instantly. It wasn't exactly like that, especially with Moon Knight having all the power sets of Captain America. Taigoki was actually keeping pace, but just forgot about the shield. It has that boomerang effect. But it doesn't stop there. We get this, a version of in God mode. So we got Taigoki, the Tiger God, which is a Korean deity, and then we got this moon rag, the immortal Moon Knight, which is the Fist of Kishnu. But basically he's dead or whatever. And once the fight starts again, Taigoki just kind of knocks off his head, and I mean, all throughout this fight, I mean, it keeps switching up. It's not so one-sided as you would think so, which I enjoyed. There is a version where they do ultimate God mode, like Taigoki in his ultimate form and Moon Knight in his ultimate form, which I thought both were dope. But it's kind of the same thing, Moon Knight stating oh, well, you can't do anything now that I'm in, God mode and stuff like this. And Taigoki does not. I mean, he's like, bro, I'm going to show you what a god is. And pretty much Taigoki kind of instantly kind of stops, shows him what a real god, and I think it's based on maybe Taigoki already having those power sets, and so he's almost already a god. So just unleashing even more powers. So we get to it, and basically at the end of it, Moon Knight actually does the smartest thing ever, and he's like, look, you won. He's like, it doesn't matter what version. He was like, and she's been flipping us. You know what, I don't need this. I've done this before, I let the Phoenix go, I've done this and that, nah, I'm good, and he just basically gives it to Taigoki. And at this point, since they did fight and created enough chaos energy, Agatha Harkness actually allows Taigoki to move forward to her chaos cruise. So Taigoki did win this round. We get this little backup story basically, and it's like Spider-Man, Jessica Drew, and Clea, and they're trying to get closer to Agatha. We also get this other thing here where it's another, like, it's the same demon that's been coming for Agatha. Let me see if I can find her name. I think it's like Corrosion. That's who it is, and she basically sends like some demons after Agatha, and same thing. But we actually get to see some of these guys in their chaos gear, which is kind of cool. Her army is building up. But that's where this one leaves off, and we're off to the next one. We got Spider-Gwen Annual issue number 1, which is going to be Silver Fox versus Spider-Gwen. One that I was super excited about. I do love Silver Fox and Spider-Gwen. And it's a dope cover by Marika, right? But unfortunately, this is probably the weaker of the 3 issues in my opinion. I don't know why, but this one's set in adventure mode. The other ones are actually like, the other ones are more like they have a fantasy or world around them, but for some reason they are drawn to fight each other. This one's a little different. They just kind of wake up in this medieval, like, at first we were following Gwen, and she's woken up in this medieval version, and she's being told that this Silver Fox deity came and is trying to steal this orb, and the orb has like immense power for their kingdom, kind of thing. And that's what this whole the story is about. In the beginning is about this orb. As we go through it, it's just like the other ones where they both kind of start second guessing where they are. Spider-Gwen is the one that kind of really figures out what's going on. But eventually, and I'm going to fast forward because most of this was just repetitive, like, them both going after this orb, which that is their fight. And this one, it's basically them going after the orb. The more they go after it, I mean, it's just more and more chaos. They keep having these, different characters that spot up and kind of mess up, going after the orb. But eventually they get to a spot where they, like, Silver Fox recognizes, like, kind of the magical setup that they're about to go into, and it's based off of an old Korean, like, theme park. And at this time, like, Silver Fox is determined that White Fox, I'm sorry, not Silver Fox, White Fox, but she figures out that they're in that, like, some kind of magic or whatever, that something's messing with them because of this, fun house that appeared, because it supposedly got demolished a long time ago. They start going through the fun house, and they actually start working together. Once they get down to the bottom, eventually this like face kind of appears, this avatar, and he's like, look, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing here. I get that y'all are trying to help each other, but y'all were handpicked because y'all are the best of the best. And they're like, well, we're not gonna fight. You need one of us to win. And Silver Fox is like bloop, and White Fox, I'm sorry, I'm bad with name, guys. White Fox actually, like, hits Gwen, and kind of knocks her over in a jokingly fashion, saying that Spider-Gwen won. And this face gets pissed off and tells him that ain't gonna fly. Y'all really have to fight. One of y'all is going to leave this arena, the other is not. And if y'all don't fight, everybody anybody you've ever met is going to die, and we have eyes on them. And they kind of show them proof or whatever. So at this point, they do have to fight, and we actually finally get a real fight between the two. White Fox having, like, this transformation into this kind of old school deity, but eventually it is White Fox that eventually wins, and it's because she's closer to a god kind of thing. But she is the one that moves forward. But it is a standardized fight. She does get knocked out in one punch, but that one punch was able to damage her enough. Like I mentioned before, we got the backup story with Jessica Drew, Spider-Man, Clea, and it's kind of the same thing. At this point, Clea's like, hey, I've got the spell that can track, this chaos stuff, and we can kind of see who's, behind this all, and as soon as she goes into the astral plane, she gets sucked into it, and Agatha Harkness is right here, and all she's basically telling Clea is that she needs to trust her, kind of thing. That's the end of the issue. Next issue, we got Venom Annual, issue number 1, and this is Deadpool versus Venom, one that had no guesses on who was going to win. I will say beforehand that I should have known better, but this is not Eddie Brock Venom, this is Dylan Brock, his son. And you can see that he's got the chains on, which I didn't notice until I started reading. It kind of made more sense though. And this one actually does pertain to their main stories. This one's written by Alyssa Wong, so it follows Deadpool's storyline. We got him, his girlfriend, and Princess, his like symbiote dog or whatever. They're out for this walk, and all of a sudden, like, Deadpool sees this balloon that comes out of a sewer, kind of like the It thing. Deadpool even makes fun of it, like, hey, this is kind of knockoff Stephen King crap. Eventually the balloon grabs him and pulls him through this portal that's in the manhole, and eventually he wakes up in this weird, like, magical theme park land. As soon as he gets here, he loves it. I think it's called Harperland or something like that. Hopperland. As soon as Deadpool gets here, he's in love. I mean, they got everything that he loves. You know, rides, games, food. But Venom is also there, and that's when we run into Dylan Brock. And as soon as they get here, they're introduced to their challenge. This one is not so much a typical one-on-one fight. It has, because both of them have fought each other, even though Deadpool is not aware that it is Dylan, he knows that it's not Eddie, kind of thing. But basically they have to collect 4 balloons. The person who gets the most balloons wins, and that's basically their challenge. They can't end in a tie, so if they both get 2 balloons, kind of thing, one of them has to take the other from the other. As we go through, Venom is the first winner from the first balloon, and it's because he figured they can't find the balloon. They end up popping like hundreds and hundreds of balloons, and it's because there's a actual like mascot that's walking around, and the balloon is literally inside him. The only reason they figure this out is because Venom eats the mascot and the balloon is inside him. After that, they go to a second round, and Deadpool ends up getting this one. It's like a roller coaster ride, and Deadpool ends up using his like agility and stuff to get the better hand on Venom. The third one is a target kind of practice thing. Again, Deadpool pulls off this one. The very end, the last one is supposed to be like a hit the hammer type thing. Deadpool does end up winning it, but you see right here that Venom does impale Deadpool and ends up trying to steal the balloon, but it ends up going to Deadpool. At this time, with Deadpool having 3 to Eddie Brock's 1, eventually, as soon as they're about to declare the winner, now that all 4 balloons have been won by the victors, and Venom basically losing, as soon as the mascot's about to claim the winner, Venom basically bites off Deadpool's arm and takes all 4 balloons, becoming the winner. Deadpool at this time isn't phased, the regenerative thing, but it's kind of like, man, I don't really need this, I don't want this kind of thing. And at this point, he doesn't fight Venom, which he could have to take the balloons back. So eventually, Venom does this one by kind of default, I guess you'd say. They're pulled back over. As soon as they're pulled back over, Deadpool actually notices Agatha Harkness as she's pulling Venom, through her portal, and Deadpool tries to run to Agatha, and he makes it into the portal, but realizes his portal goes somewhere else, like she was ready for, kind of thing. As soon as he pops out, there's all those there's mascots that came with him or something, and Princess eats some of them, and then there's like a joke about you're gonna get worms, kind of thing. That's the end of that one. But we basically, at the end, we go back to Clea and Agatha, and it's basically Agatha telling her that she's not going to trust Clea, that she's not going to trust Agatha or whatever. Agatha eventually gets pulled out of the astral plane, or kicked out, kind of thing, and she ends up back on the ship. These are the moments in the astral plane, kind of thing, and that's basically what went down, is that, hey, I don't trust you, kind of thing. At the very end, Agatha was kind of like you know, kind of amazed that she was able to get kicked out, but at the same time she learned. We do get to see all our new characters that have been pulled to the Chaos side in their Chaos looking gear. I will say I like Wolverine and Venom. They look pretty cool. But that is all 3 issues. That is, I think we got 2 more in the standard issues, and there might be 1 after that. If we get another 3, I'll do that in 1 video, but if we don't, I'll break them down into 2. But hey, let me know down below, you know, what are you thinking about this event? So far I'm liking it. I like the whole like mix. I can say the Spider-Gwen was probably the weakest one out of them, but just because it was more like an adventure type thing. I don't know. That's my review. Let me know down below what you're thinking. I got more reviews on the way.